Hello, this is Dr. Oviedo. Today we are going to review the normal thymus. The thymus educates T cells so that they can recognize MHC1 and MHC2 molecules. The thymus also removes self-reactive T cells. At this power, you can see the thymus is composed of adipose and thymic tissue. These white areas are, of course, the adipose. The darker blue or purple areas are thymic tissue. At this power, you can see there is a thymic cortex, which has a darker appearance, along with the thymic medulla, which has a lighter colored appearance. Let's take a closer look at the cortex. At this power, you can see the thymic cortex is largely composed of these small round cells which appear to be lymphocytes. We call them thymocytes because they are developing T cells. The cortex also has these large round nuclei with nucleoli, like this cell right here and another one right here. These cells with large round nuclei are thymic epithelial cells. Let's go on to the medulla. At this power, you can see the medulla also contains many cells that appear to be lymphocytes, which are, of course, thymocytes and T cells. The medulla also contains Hassel's corpuscles. There is one Hassel's corpuscle right here, there is another one up here, and there is a large one right here. Let's take a closer look. Here, of course, is a Hassel's corpuscle. Hassel's corpuscles are composed of epithelial cells. Down here, you can see an epithelial cell which has kind of an elongated nucleus. Let's take a closer look. This cell with more of an elongated nucleus has a fair amount of cytoplasm. This is an epithelial cell. This is also referred to as a thymic epithelial cell or medullary cell. The significance of the different appearances of the epithelial cells in the thymus are that thymic epithelial tumors will also have different appearances based on whether they resemble the larger cells or the spindled cells. One more thing. This thymus happens to be from an adolescent. It contains about half adipose and half thymic tissue. An infant or small child would have almost all thymic tissue. An elderly adult would have almost all adipose and very little thymic tissue. Let's go on to our summary. On the left, you can see the thymus has a dark cortex along with a lighter colored medulla. On the middle top, you can see that the cortex has thymic epithelial cells which have large round nuclei along with the small round thymocytes. Below that, you can see the thymic medulla has thymic corpuscles which are made up of epithelial cells and is the same thing as a Hassel's corpuscle. The medulla also contains thymocytes and T cells. In the middle bottom, you can see the thymic medullary epithelial cell has a spindled nucleus. The function of the thymus is to educate T cells. Thymic epithelial cells present MHC1 and MHC2 to developing thymocytes as part of the education process. Positive selection refers to the process where T cells that have T cell receptors that recognize and bind antigen on MHC molecules are selected for survival, and this occurs in the cortex. Negative selection refers to the process where self-reactive T cells are removed, and this occurs in the medulla. Okay, good luck with your studies of the thymus.